Hello fight fans, we are back for another fight night, Lewis versus Teixeira. This card marks the exciting return of the Black Beast Derrick Lewis to the octagon. As always, when Lewis is fighting, anything can happen. One punch can end the night in a flash, but this card is stacked with violent potential from top to bottom. There are a few toss-up fights, but we're here to give you our most confident picks. And we're looking to keep our momentum strong after a big win 2 weeks ago. Let's get to it. In the main event between Derrick Lewis versus Tallison Teixeira, we have a classic matchup of veteran power versus rising precision. Derrick Lewis is a known quantity. Brutal one-shot knockout power, massive experience, and a fan favorite. But at 39, he's slower and his output has been low in recent performances. He relies heavily on luring opponents in and landing the bomb. Tallison Teixeira is a newer face, younger, sharper, and significantly faster. He utilizes kicks well and has good movement for a heavyweight, which could frustrate Lewis. The biggest question is, can he avoid the big shot? We are picking Teixeira for his volume and speed, but buyer beware. Lewis only needs one clean right hand to flip the script, and Teixeira's defensive head movement has holes. Pick Tallison Teixeira with caution. Co-main event, Stephen Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim at welterweight. This is a classic veteran versus prospect matchup. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson brings one of the most unique striking styles in MMA. Karate-based, elusive, and nearly impossible to mimic in training. He has faced the absolute best in the world and has the IQ to manage range and score from the outside. Gabriel Bonfim is no slouch. He's aggressive, well-rounded, and has a slick submission game. But he hasn't faced anyone near Thompson's level. His forward pressure could work against him if he overextends and gets picked apart. We are picking Thompson for his experience, movement, and ability to keep the fight on the feet. We're also leaning toward the over, as both men are durable and could go the distance. Pick Stephen Thompson. Lean over. Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia at featherweight. This has fight of the night written all over it. Calvin Kattar is one of the cleanest boxers in the division, but he's coming off a significant layoff due to a knee injury. He's been in wars with top names and has shown incredible toughness. Steve Garcia is wild, unpredictable, and ultra-aggressive. He doesn't have Kattar's technique, but he makes up for it with heart and pace. If Kattar's timing is off due to the layoff, Garcia could make this messy and steal momentum. We're picking Steve Garcia here, but expect a war with plenty of momentum swings. Pick Steve Garcia. Nate Landwehr versus Morgan Charrière, also at featherweight. This is going to be chaos. Nate Landwehr is a wild man, relentless pressure, in-your-face aggression, and not afraid to take damage. He thrives in gritty brawls and often breaks his opponents with pace and volume. Morgan Charrière is a much more composed striker. Slick movement, clean counters, and a great jab. If he can avoid a slugfest and fight smart, he can pick Landwehr apart from the outside. We are picking Morgan Charrière, but if he gets lured into a war, Landwehr's pressure could cause problems. Pick Morgan Charrière, buyer beware. All right, so first up, we've got Vitor Petrino versus Austin Lane in the heavyweight division. Honestly, this fight feels like a potential showcase for Vitor Petrino. He's athletic, explosive, and fights with a really composed style. Big power, good cardio for a heavyweight, and his grappling keeps getting better. Now, Austin Lane is massive and definitely dangerous early, but he's wild and not very durable. He usually fades pretty fast if the fight goes past the first round, so yeah, we expect Petrino to weather that early storm and just take over as things move along. The pick here is Vitor Petrino. Next up, let's break down Junior Tafa versus Tokkos at light heavyweight. This is a tricky matchup. Junior Tafa is a solid striker with heavy hands, and his takedown defense is getting better all the time. He's dangerous early and definitely prefers to keep things standing. On the other hand, Tokkos is more well-rounded. He's a serviceable striker with a sneaky grappling game and the ability to grind out wins. We're picking Junior Tafa for his knockout power and his ability to control range, but honestly, this one could be close if Tokkos manages to get those grappling exchanges going. So yeah, pick is Junior Tafa. Alright, kicking things off with Max Griffin versus Chris Curtis in the welterweight division. This is a solid veteran showdown. Max Griffin brings great hand speed, decent wrestling, and he always shows up in top-notch shape. He can push the pace and really make fights gritty. But honestly, Chris Curtis has the edge when it comes to technical boxing and timing. His counter-striking is super clean, and he's got one of the best chins in the division. If Griffin can't mix in those takedowns, Curtis is probably going to box him up over 3 rounds, so we're siding with Chris Curtis here, and we also like the over since both guys are pretty darn durable. Pick Chris Curtis. Lean over. Next up, Jake Matthews versus Njokuani, also at welterweight. This one's another classic striker versus grappler matchup. Jake Matthews is physical, explosive, and super strong in the clinch and on the mat. His striking is decent, but it can look a little stiff and hesitant sometimes. On the other side, you've got Njokuani. He's long, dangerous, and hits like a truck. If he can keep Matthews at range and use his kicks and knees, he'll pick him apart. The key is whether Matthews can close that distance and get it to the mat. We're picking Njokuani here, mainly because of his range and striking diversity. Pick Njokuani. Moving on, let's talk Lauren Murphy versus Eduarda Moura in the women's flyweight division. Lauren Murphy is just a gritty veteran, tough as nails and really hard to put away. She's not flashy, but she's effective at grinding out wins. Eduarda Moura, though, is the younger and fresher fighter with strong grappling, relentless forward pressure, and better athleticism. We think she'll smother Murphy with that pressure, probably landing takedowns and racking up control time. This could easily go to a decision, so we also like the over here. Pick Eduarda Moura. Lean over. Now, Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Walter Walker at heavyweight. This is honestly a tough one to call. Kennedy Nzechukwu has all the tools. He's tall, long, and has faced tougher competition, but he can be inconsistent and sometimes slow to get going. Walter Walker, who's actually Johnny Walker's younger brother, brings a lot of explosive energy and athleticism, but he's still a bit raw. If he comes out strong and controls that first round, he could totally steal the momentum. We're slightly leaning Walter Walker, but yeah, this one could really go either way. Pick Walter Walker, but just a slight lean. Up next, Mitch Ramirez versus Mike Davis in the lightweight division. Mike Davis is one of the more underrated fighters on the roster. He's got crisp boxing, heavy hands, and excellent ground and pound. He's been out for a while, but his skills are still sharp. Mitch Ramirez is tough and always game, but he just doesn't have the polish that Davis brings. We expect Davis to win this one with clean striking and, if needed, control in the grappling exchanges. Pick Mike Davis. Switching gears, Fatima Kline versus Melissa Martinez in women's strawweight. This is a close fight. Fatima Kline is well-rounded and fights smart, good grappling awareness, and decent striking fundamentals. Melissa Martinez is a pressure-heavy striker who tries to overwhelm her opponents. If Kline can manage the distance and avoid getting cornered, she can use her grappling to neutralize Martinez. We're picking Kline here, but honestly, this is the kind of fight where one small mistake could flip the result. We also like the over here. Pick Fatima Kline, but buyer beware. Lean over. Well, that's it for this fight breakdown. We've got some dangerous underdogs and a few tight matchups, but with sharp picks and smart betting, this could be a big weekend for profits. As always, bet responsibly. And if you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to help the channel grow. Thanks for watching and good luck.